Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another Weather Plus by Billie. Today's date, January 4, 2023. New. This is my third YouTube channel. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and Rumble. Episode 29. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot Subscriber, Pastor Paul Begley, and Mike from around the world, Dr. J Campbell, WION, Dr. William Mount, Dutch Sense, Zero Hedge, Daily Mail, Plus. So let's get started. Some of the things we're going to be covering: California and a rain river coming, China and their V spread, Planet X. We got plenty of information on that. Okay, I have a Patriot subscriber talking about space energy coming in. On December 20, I was asleep and I felt as if I heard a cracking sound like warm water over ice. In the country, it's very quiet. And I felt like light was moving and swinging. And it 3 times I felt as if there was the air was heavy and trouble breathing. So yeah, energy from space may be coming to us. So let's get started. What's going to be happening in our weather? So let's start with California. So we've got California. And what we understand, we have Eureka. So we have a couple of things going on. Some like earthquakes. We have Crescent City. We have San Francisco, we've got LA, we've got San Diego. Okay, Pacific Ocean. This up here would be Canada. We have Alaska over here. Now, according to the weather predictions, what's coming in is described as being a rain, it's called a rain bomb. Now, Mike from around the world has given information that with these, we have space something, and it's putting pressure on the earth, and it's making our atmosphere hold 2 times the amount of water is held in the past. So this is described as being a Pineapple Express, a system coming down from the Arctic area across the Pacific Ocean and bringing in a rain bomb. So they're predicting for San Francisco like flooding and snow in the Sierra Nevada area, and people are getting sandbags to protect their property. Now, this is the 3rd storm in a week to hit California. Can we say geoengineering? And we still have 10,000 without power, and that's in Northern California. So that's going on in California. Now, across to the East Coast, what we're having unusual warm weather across a majority of the U.S., contradicting the extreme cold, unless that's going to come later in January and February. And then there is some predictions for snow up in this area later in the week. So we've got that going on. Now, in California, we've had predictions of some earthquakes, some other things. Now, Dr. William Mount was talking about, all right, so let me draw another map. Get this going. So we see that California is like in the midst of several things. So we have California, coming down. So we have the plate, the tectonic plates. We have the Pacific plate. We've got the North American plate, and they're moving in opposite directions. And Dr. William Mount is saying that around San Francisco, the plates are like stuck. Now we know recently we had in Eureka, California, that 6.4 earthquake. And Dr. William Mount is giving some indication for near Crescent City a tidal wave. Oh, I think this is if this stuck plate near San Francisco is jolted, it could generate a tidal wave going into Crescent City. Now we have other people talking about earthquakes in this area. We had one prediction for a 7. But Dutch Sense put that to bed, and I looked at this information, and there was no basis for it, and this is exactly what Dutch Sense said. And he's the expert. If anyone can predict an actual 7.0 coming for California, it would be Dutch Sense. So, yeah, and Zero Hedge, we're making this prediction for San Francisco a 7, January 2 to 3. Well, I mean, that's already passed. So that's gone. Now, in Eureka, we did have that 6.4, so we do have something going on with the plates. But I would suggest looking at, local, good sources. Dutch Sense is one. ETN News is another one. So we do have increase, and we do have a space object coming in, or energy from space. I'll cover that in Planet X segment. That's going to increase the number of volcanoes and earthquakes. Also, Dr. William Mount is reporting this week 12,000 delays. And he's saying it's because the FAA computer has broken. So we have that going on. Now, we'll cover some information from Dr. J Campbell. He's a PhD nursing prof in England. So Dr. J Campbell, I like his reports. They're evidence-based. Talking about China. Now, we've been hearing, there were revolts in China, and it had to do with the lockdown, and that had to do with the V spread, people getting infected with the C virus. Dr. William Mount is saying that, yeah, people were locked down and they would be tested. If they were positive, then they had to stay home. So what people were doing was bribing the testers with money. And even if they were positive, they would still go to work. So then they've had a spread to millions, they're saying. And in WION, that's a news organization out of India, is reporting in Shanghai 70% of their population is infected, which is about 20 million people. So that's going on. We keep hearing these bizarre things about China, lockdowns, revolts. So something is going on, and these reports appear to support that a lot of people have infections. And there are also multiple reports of long lines of people to get in hospitals and long lines of individuals going to morgues and crematoriums. So it's hard to say with China. So I think the summation we can bring is something's going on in China. It appears to be on a massive level with their population that would definitely affect their economy. So we'll see how this goes in the future. Now, Pastor Paul Begley on his Thursday night program regularly has Mike from around the world. And Mike also has a YouTube Council of Time. He does Bible teachings. He's a Christian. We also believe he works for the NSA. Mike knows stuff. So this is about Planet X and also Israeli News Live. Stephen Bannon, formerly with the CIA, now as a ministry, but regularly gets updates from the Pentagon. So we have information coming out. Now this is coming out that in 2023, 17 space events affect the Earth, waves of energy, asteroids, and so on. The first will be January 5 of 2023. It will come in and affect what's called the heliosphere. Now, the heliosphere is a bubble that's around our solar system. So we have the sun, we've got Earth, we've got the other planets, Mars and Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus, and so on. So this heliosphere is around our solar system. We have waves of energy coming across space. Suspicious Observers has also been documenting this for years, and this lines up with my science background and life earth science. So I've been familiar with, like, around the Earth electromagnetic shield has been going down for decades. So we know about that. So Earth is going to be affected, but all of the solar system will be affected. And Stephen Bannon said a few months ago that the Pentagon knew about this event coming in, and in September to our solar system, and by December we would begin to feel the effects. So Mike from around the world has been authorized by the U.S. government to release this information. 7 space events in 2023. First one here. Is it time to prep? It is. Definitely. Okay. So when this affects us January 5, it's going to take, usually the effect will occur in 17 hours. It could be 24 to 48 hours. So what effect are we going to have? So let's see. So we have the heliosphere. We have this space object or energy impacting our solar system and then impacting Earth January 5 within 17 hours. So that would make it January 6 or 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So it's going to bring with it dust. And supposedly this dust is space dust, but some of the objects could be the size of cars. It can be red, and it can cause breathing issues, dusty in our atmosphere. Okay. Now, Mike from around the world is saying that this energy object in space In 2023, we'll have 17 events, but the totality of the effect on the Earth is going to last 27 years. Now, that correlates also with some cliff high information and also other sources talking about an ice age coming on in 2023. What this correlates with cliff high is that we would have a war type scenario for 18 years. So I submit if we're pushing back against space events, it could create a war-like situation. So Mike is saying, you know, we'll have some kind of big water event, some kind of displacement of the crust. Suspicious observers also, you know, has mentioned this, and many other sources with which I'm familiar, science-based. But he's saying on Earth, it's going to be north of the equator, where we have the crust move. Now, BP Earthwatch recently was documenting a movement of the craton over America. So that would be like a crust displacement. Okay, so we got that coming in. Now, so my Israeli News Live now is talking about, and other sources talk about China having a, and they did launch this, China. So they launched maybe 1 to 2 months ago. So that would be about November, December of 2022 in China. They launched an artificial sun, and they're using geoengineering HARP plus. And Israeli News Live Stephen Ben-Nun says that they launched it, and it can actually be used as a weapon. And they have ancient reports from Egypt, like during the time of the Exodus in the Bible, when Planet X came in and Gil Broussard had linked Planet X with occurrences in the Bible, which I checked out a while ago, that appeared to be accurate. One of them occurred on the day that Jesus was crucified, when there was darkness all over the globe for several hours. Gil Broussard linked that to Planet X. Excuse me. So now, Israeli News Lab Stephen Ben-Nun is saying this space object energy affected Exodus 3,500 years ago, and it could change human DNA. And we know that's when God took the people, his people, out of Egypt to the promised land. Okay. He's also saying that ham radios, and we know from Peter the Insider, like a last couple of years ago, Peter was giving the report that ham radios were being phased out all over the world. And I wondered why. Now, this report from Stephen says ham radios can document frequencies. Who knew? I did not know that. And so the shadow governments and militaries wanted to take the ham radios away. They, one, wanted to decrease the opportunity for individuals, independent-minded individuals, to give out independent-based news information via ham radios, but apparently they've known about the space event coming up. They wanted to decrease the number of ham radios out of the hands of the people who could then use them to document frequency changes. Okay, so China's artificial sun generates enough heat that shoes would melt on the pavement. And now we have, and we see in the United States, and this is another reason I began this weather program, we have weather changes and we can't predict seasons. It's because the natural, normal cycles of seasons are not being allowed on Earth. We have geoengineering, but we also have impacts from space that would also change our seasons. So now, this object coming in or event on Earth causes high frequency to occur. That's another reason they want to get rid of the ham radios so people couldn't document the frequency, which affects life. And this is also covering why is China in lockdown? And it's saying that there are hundreds of thousands of people who have passed away from this new phase, Omicron. Well, was it a combination in China of some type of V sickness coupled with the impact on life of the artificial sun in China? Okay, so now Stephen's bringing this information from a Pentagon physicist. There's an object behind the sun that's going to eject from the sun in 2030. That correlates with Cliff High's prediction for an ice age in 2030, and that it currently orbits the sun. There are multiple sources for this. And that if you look through a telescope, you'll see a blue color around the sun, and that's being projected by the artificial sun in China. Okay, so now Mike from around the world is talking about this Planet X wave of energy affecting the heliosphere. Earthquakes and volcanoes are going to be up. We're going to have a wave of energy hit the bubble. Now, the wave of energy is going to hit the bubble right here, not Earth, the bubble right here on January 5, 2023. It will feel the effects maybe within 17 hours, but 24 to 48 hours. So that's going on. Now, this is interesting that Mike from around the world is saying one of the objectives of the New World Order in destroying food manufacturing, taking away diesel and rail and trucking in the United States is to increase the price of living so that in the United States particularly, there's less money to give to the Christian faith to support the church. Now, this correlates to something God gave me like last week, to wake up every day and think of a new way to make money. And I thought, how odd this is. And so, one of the ways I was thinking, well, if I went to the grocery store and I shopped the sales, I'm going to save money. So that's a way to make money. Okay. But then the question I had in my mind about God directing me to, pay attention to making money correlates to this answer from Mike. Because the deep state, the New World Order, wants to decrease the amount of money Christians have to support the church. Okay, I get that. Now, Mike from around the world. Okay, so this needs to come out. We know from the Bible it talks about, and I've been praying against the veil covering the nations for years. Take it away, Lord. Let us see. Okay. So now, Mike is saying this energy coming in. Here we have Earth. We have an electromagnetic shield that's going down. But this energy coming in is going to take away our atmosphere that's covering the Earth. And what are we going to see? We're going to see billions of planets lit up with power, with electricity, with civilizations. Yeah, we're going to see that. All right. So now, people are going to be shocked. So, yeah, around the Earth, then we've got several layers of our atmosphere, the stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. And this is going away, and we're going to be able to see all this stuff in space and understand that there are billions of other species and billions of other inhabited planets. So we Christians, that widens our evangelism field, doesn't it? Okay. So now the Pentagon from Israeli News Live, Stephen Benin. This week, the Hubble photos are all classified now because they don't want the people on the Earth to realize that there are billions of other species and that are in inhabited planets, you know, with organizations similar to Earth. Well, I guess the deep state, well, that's another reason they've been trying to poison us with water, chemtrails, our food, to tap down our DNA and our contact with God. Because when you're connected directly with God, you get information. Okay. So Israeli News Live, yeah, 18 astronauts are predicted to hit Earth, but the U.S. military and the Space Force and other militaries have, and we have off-world help also from other species, have devices that can deflect the asteroids. They've tried sending out nukes, but the nukes don't work. And they want to try a dark matter weapon, but the problem with the dark matter weapon is it changes the DNA for humans, ETs, non-terrestrials, and other species. So that doesn't look like it's a good choice. Wouldn't a better choice be to ask God to tap it out of the way? After all, He put everything and created everything around us. Now, a short prayer. This is based on General Patton's weather prayer in World War II. General Patton asked his chaplain, write a prayer to God asking for good weather for battle. And we're in battle, aren't we? Father, grant us fair weather. Arm your soldiers with your power. Guide us from victory to victory and crush our enemies. And we thank you, Father, Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there. Continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.